When my friend and I met the woman we now refer to as the Banshee, it was about 10 at night. We were walking back from a milk tea place, and we were maybe at mile 5 of a 6-mile total round trip, almost home. We were walking on a long stretch of sidewalk next to a wide road that is busy during the day, but almost empty at night. A little background: my hiking buddy and I sometimes go for long walks through the town at night when we can't get to the trails during the day. It's dark, but our route goes through a fairly safe and blend of residential and shopping areas. Usually we head to some sort of late night restaurant or food truck. We walk, stop for food and drink, and then head back. We wear glowing vests, battery powered, and reflective stuff to make sure traffic sees us because we've had some too close encounters with distracted drivers. We've also had a few encounters with strange people. She didn't start making strange noises at first. It was a long stretch of straight sidewalk, and we had seen her coming for a long time before she started that. No one else was out walking along the road at this hour. There were plenty of street lights. She'd appear under the lights, then disappear in some shadow of bushes and trees, and then reappear under the lights. We were glowing in our vests, in addition to the street lights, so she'd have to have seen us coming. I figured she just worked at one of the shops or restaurants nearby and was getting done with closing up. I figured she was just trying to get home, just like we were. Until she started making these random noises. The first sound was like an odd hacking noise, like she was attempting to clear her throat as noisily as possible. But this was just the warm-up. The sound then changed to something like a cross between a crow cawing and a small dog's bark. Rendering text is hard, but the closest thing might be a growl. So we kept walking towards her, watching and listening, thinking perhaps she had a disability or some other issue. She looked decently dressed, and she walked steadily and deliberately, not like someone on drugs. If not her noises, she seemed completely normal. Then she made these loud but low-pitched groaning sounds, something like a mrrr sort of noise. It had us briefly making zombie movie references, joking a bit, but we speculated if she was maybe talking to someone on earbuds or making an attempt at singing something. But it got weirder as she added some higher pitched screechy sounds, something like an angry cockatoo might make, like a craw craw sound. At this point, she's less than 2 blocks away, and she's rotating through these bizarre sounds, with sort of pauses of silence between. She looks like someone's cute little grandma. She didn't look like anything you'd expect to see making those sounds. She's wearing an old-fashioned thick skirt, a cardigan, and chunky-looking shoes, carrying a single cloth shopping bag. Her hair is a short, curly old lady perm. She looks adorable. She sounds insane. Grah, crow bark sound. Mram, zombie noise. Caw, caw, cockatoo shriek sound. She's getting closer. Her bizarre noises are getting more unsettling, and I realise I can't see what she's clutching in her hand. The one that doesn't have the shopping bag. She looks harmless, but the sounds are too weird. My buddy looks at me and asked, "Time to cross?" Echoing my own thoughts. We didn't want a confrontation with this lady. I nodded, but just before we step out into the road, the lady seemed to have the same idea. She suddenly veered off to the sidewalk and went into the road, making a steady diagonal line towards the other side. There was no traffic on the road at this point, so I wasn't worried. I relaxed a bit, continuing on. I figured she was avoiding us, just like we were about to avoid her. But just as we started to pass her, she suddenly screamed and rushed at us in the middle of the road. Her mouth was wide open as she charged at us, just shrieking. We stepped quickly apart, and her abrupt rush took her right between us, just shriek wailing that horrible sound. It sounded like it would hurt her throat. Banshee-like is the only word I have for it. We were several feet apart, both braced for her to come back and do something, but instead she veered again and went down the sidewalk the way she had originally been going. As she walked away, she kept looking back at us and keeping up short bursts of shrieking banshee noise, stopping to take breaths. As she got further away from us, she started caw barking at us again. We stood there for a while, just silently watching until she was a good long ways down the sidewalk, with her very strange crow barking fading into the distance. I still have no idea what was wrong with her. Did I somehow trigger an episode? I hope she's okay. She seemed to know where she was going. But Banshee Lady, let's not meet again. When I was younger, somewhere between 5 or 8, a distant family member who was supposedly well loved died, and one of his last wishes was for the final celebration of his life to take place in his childhood home. His son, DJ, decided to respect these wishes and contacted the current owner of the house to ask if a small gathering could be hosted on the premises and entirely outside. As far as DJ and everyone else could tell, the homeowner was kind and understanding and agreed, offering to help out, being clear on boundaries and such. Fast forward to the event itself. My family's arriving. I'd say around 3 in the afternoon, and I have this horrible anxious feeling deep in my stomach that I can't shake. I mentioned it to my mum, saying something silly that I probably heard on TV about my gut feeling, and my parents shrug it off and tell me it's fine and to come on. I trust my parents, so I step out of the car, all dressed in a cute dress and layered in cheap plastic jewellery, I think Mardi Gras beads, that I proudly chose myself to appear formal for the occasion. My mum, my dad and I all walk out towards the backyard, aiming towards the right hand side of the house, as the inside was off limits due to being private property, when a man busts out the front door holding a bat. This is not just a normal baseball bat intended to occupy the children. No. This man busts out of his front door, screams at everyone, talks about how horrible we are and how our family's disgusting, all while gripping a beat up baseball bat full of nails. Immediately I panic, and my fight or flight, in this case flight, kicks in, and I make a beeline to our old blue car. I only just got dragged out by my dad. I jump in and slam the door behind me, panicking with tear-blurred vision and an incredibly upset stomach. When I look out the window and see the man, the crazy man who made a quick decision to target an elementary age girl as he took a swing at the car and hit the area above the back tyre, creating a loud ringing and dent. My dad, who took what felt like 5 hours but was probably around 10 seconds, pushes the man away and jumps in, my mum following behind quickly. We sped away from the house and back home, not mentioning a thing except for how proud of me they were for running, and that they'll listen to me if I ever have that horrible gut feeling that something's wrong again. Though both my mum and dad kept shooting quick glances behind the car and whispering to each other. My family never discussed the event with me around again, but when I asked my mum what happened years later, she explained that the man had decided to do a Google search on DJ and found his estranged criminal brother's record on Google, and decided that this was evidence enough to attack a family during a wake with a nailed baseball bat. This happened way back in 2013 when I was in junior college. It was our college's organisation's annual art camp. For a short description, we're all in fine arts department, and our organisation holds this art camp where there are seminars from our professors and mentors, and all in all team building activities. It's usually set in recreational venues. As I said earlier, I was in junior, and it was our year as officers of the said organisation, so we were the ones who chose the venue, planned the games, itineraries and such. To give a brief description of the place, it's in a rural area around Laguna in the Philippines. It's a huge recreational area with hanging bridge leading to the campfire, pool area and obstacle courses. In the middle of the venue, there's a huge open space function hall where the seminars were held. Our cabins were hidden by trees located far behind the hall. The first cabin was for mentors and profs, the second was for the girls in my year and co-officers, and the third was for the sophomores and freshmen. The fourth was for the guys in my year and some freshmen, and the last 2 cabins were occupied by the higher year students. On the right side of the function hall, there's an outdoor lounge area with life-size chessboard games. If you walk straight further, there's the obstacle course area. Further from it was the pool and foresty area where the campfire and hanging bridge was located. This particular story was experienced by my classmate. It was late at night, around 8 PM. Our scheduled seminar was already finished, and everyone was done with their dinner. Some of the students were chilling in the patio of their cabin, some were walking around, and us, the officers, were busy with planning tomorrow's activities. The guys, we're going to call them Gab, Wally, Kev, Alan, and Hero, were chatting and chilling inside their cabin. One of them decided to explore around. Hero told them to go and play the chessboard area. They decided to go out except for one. Gab approached Frank, a freshman, dozing at the top bunk. He asked if he wanted to come with them, but Frank was sleepy and he said no to them, turning his back against them. Before leaving, Gab asked Frank if it's alright to borrow his slippers because he had none, and Frank signalled okay. So the 5 guys were heading out the cabin, fooling around and laughing. They looked around and saw students slowly heading to each cabin to rest. They were almost a few yards from the chessboard when Gab noticed someone was walking parallel to them. The guy was heading to a large old coconut tree adjacent to the chessboard area. He was confused and stopped walking. Wally, Kevin, Alan, and Hero noticed the walking guy as well. It was already dark around with minimal lights far from them. Gab tried to rub his eyes and recognised the walking guy. It was Frank. They all shouted, "Frank, come here!" Hero realised Frank stopped walking and turned to them. No expression at all. Alan was confused as well, and asked if it was really Frank. Gab realised something creepy and faced the guys. "How could it be Frank when I'm wearing his only slippers?" he mumbled nervously. They all looked at the guy they were calling earlier, and noticed it continued walking, and then suddenly disappeared behind the old coconut tree. The guys collectively gasped, run, and shouted loudly back to their cabin. When we reached their door, Wally opened it to find Frank was sleeping deeply with his headphones on. They woke him up and slapped him softly, and asked if he's okay or if he walked outside. Frank rubbing his eyes open, saying no confusedly. The 5 guys got so scared, they tried to outrun each other heading to the cabin to tell us what happened. I was so scared, but not actually surprised, since I felt creepy around the area during night time. It felt really strange and off. I've had my experience the night before, but not sure if it was paranormal. I awake only at that time. It was 2 AM, and I hear giggling around the cabin, like kids running around and chasing each other. I also noticed silhouettes walking past our screen door, though I personally try to dismiss it and think of it as some of the students were still awake and fooling around outside, but I was unable to sleep until 5 AM. I believe that place had ghosts and elements in it, as per their account of some of the students as well. You can easily tell if there's something creepy in a place just by the feels it gives off. My high school cross-country team used to run practices in the wooded trails along the river a few times a week. We were usually a pack of 10 to 20 girls, and it was always around 4 PM, so no one thought of it as being particularly dangerous. Most of the people you'd encounter in the woods were either runners, kids, or dog walkers. One afternoon, we were only about a group of 6. After running out a mile or two, we came across this big, out-of-service arc-shaped water feature we frequently passed on our runs. It was basically a giant hole cut out of a ravine that opened up into a dark tunnel. The inside of the dark tunnel was pitch black. You couldn't see a thing, even in the late afternoon light. We happened to slow down slightly as we passed the tunnel because someone needed to adjust their shoe or something. Someone called out to us from the top of the arc. It was this shabby, dirty looking man. He wasn't obviously homeless looking, but he might have been. He told us that he was trying to get a fire going in the tunnel and asked if we could go check if it was burning by going into the tunnel and looking around. For obvious reasons, this made no sense. We were sheltered, friendly and naive. One girl, Kate, said sure and started walking towards the tunnel opening. I got that sinking feeling that something was wrong, which only got worse as I noticed the guy was shifting around with something in his pocket. I called out to Kate, telling her to come back just before she reached the mouth of the tunnel. I got everyone running again, picking up the pace this time. We bickered over whether or not we were being paranoid as we finished our run. When we completed the loop and passed the tunnel again, the guy was gone. I hate to think of what could have awaited us in the tunnel. Obviously there was no fire burning inside. We would have seen it from where we were. Even if the guy hadn't succeeded in starting this fire, there was no reason to be standing away from it, waiting at the top of the tunnel. Okay, this happened probably around 2002. I moved to Belfast from London, and I would have been like 11. I'm 30 now. Anyway, I lived in a new area. A lot of houses, etc. were being built, and they were all massive and beautiful houses, despite being a terrible area I thankfully no longer live in. I'm with a friend called Dave. We're looking for my sister, and we go around the corner from my house, down where they are building a bunch of houses. It's pretty dark. I'd probably say about 10 or 11 PM. I don't really remember why we were actually looking for my sister. I don't even think she was around. Anyway, we're walking past houses that look pretty much finished. We're chatting, and a guy randomly shows up out of the loo behind us, grabs a hold of me. Dave, by this stage, is batshit petrified, and runs away crying and climbs over a fence, completely ditches me. This guy is very casual, despite being creepy, and I'm not as freaked out as I should be. I assume he's a provi, which is someone who watches the streets in West Belfast. He's got a hold of me, and it's like when you've been caught in a place you shouldn't be in. I expect him just to be like, you shouldn't be here at night whilst we're patrolling the streets, etc. But suddenly we go to a house which isn't completely built yet, and no one lives in it. Well, I think. I'm literally standing inside this basement looking house whilst he's outside phoning the cops. I assume he's fake calling the cops. The conversation sounds fake, and he just sounds like he's trying to scare me, and he is. I get really freaked out now though, because upstairs there's like this constant tapping sound, and it can't be a builder by himself at like 11 PM surely. It sounds like someone's locked in something trying to get out. That scared me. It was the speed of the sound, as if they knew I was in the house. It sounded like they were trapped upstairs or something. Suddenly he's off the phone and he's like, okay, the cops are coming to your house soon, leave now. I'm thinking, nah, not really. I didn't give you my address, but at the same time I was freaking out because maybe this guy knows the streets and where I live. So that entire night I was just like looking out my window hoping no cops would come. They didn't in the end, and obviously did all of this just to scare me. But why? This situation for me is scary because a guy randomly grabbing a hold of you in the street in pitch black darkness is freaky, regardless of whether or not it's a building site, and I probably shouldn't have been there. He could have put me in a room and locked the door, had someone torture me or something. I've always wondered, like, why was he there? What was he doing? Afterwards, I was scared to go out at night in the area unless I had someone with me. Truth be told, there are a lot of issues in the area, and I'm guessing that guy and a bunch of other guys were acting like undercover cops since they weren't usually comfortable coming to where I lived, since they'd usually get bricked. It comes from the troubles. Looking back though, I think the entrance was blocked off, and we weren't actually allowed in there. Considering the situation, I was actually pretty calm compared to my friend, and I have terrible anxiety. I think I just assumed that this guy wasn't bad, but again, on any given day, he could have been bad. I appreciate the feedback, guys, considering this is my first story on here. For me, because the guy showed up, and being in the house, etc., things happened for the sake of 5 to 7 minutes. It was hard to fully digest what was going on, and reminded me a little bit of the film Audition. Obviously, nowhere near as freaky, but the sound upstairs was similar to the guy in the scene from the Audition. If you've watched the film, you'll know what I mean. Hello everyone. This is the part of the episode where there's no more stories, so if you're only here for the stories, then there's no more from this point onwards. There's plenty of good horror channels out there, so I mean, I'm sure you already know loads of them, so yeah. if you only want stories, then there's more stories on my channel, or there's loads of other channels too. But yeah, this is the part where I just waffle. Where do I start? Alright, so how have you guys been? Let's start with that. Like, first thing I want you to do is write in the comments how you lot have been. What have you been up to? What's been going on? What did I talk about in my last one? I always forget what I've actually spoken about. I remember. My finger. So, my finger is almost healed now. It was quite a deep slice on my finger. It was like right at the tip of my finger. And it was like opened, like completely opened. So it wasn't very nice looking, but I probably should have gone to the doctors, but I didn't. I just washed it and closed it and just put plasters around it and tape and stuff. But it's healed pretty good, so quite happy about that. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Also, my head has healed quite well from when I spoke about before, when someone threw something at me and split my head open. And that's healed pretty good, but that's still quite painful because that was quite a deep cut on the top of my head. But that's healed really well. But it's just, I'm touching it now and it's still really tender, and that was almost a month ago. But yeah, I'm going to a football match later on today, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's soccer for you Americans that are listening, but I'm going to a football match. Pre-season one, but yeah, looking forward to that too. And yeah, honestly, I've just woken up, so I don't know why I decided to record now, but yeah, I feel knackered. I don't know why I never feel refreshed first thing in the morning. I don't know if this is a thing that you guys have too, but I'm not a morning person really. I don't wake up and feel energized and ready to go. I need a solid hour first thing in the morning just to wake up, and I don't know, just I need a tea first thing in the morning. I have to, my routine, I wake up, go have a shower, have a tea. That's the most important bit of my day, I think. I love a tea. Any time of day I'd love a tea. The problem is sometimes I drink tea at night and then I can't sleep, which I think is part of the reason I can't sleep. I just love tea. I drink it like at least 3 times a day, and not the cold tea or anything like that. Like, I put the sugar in. Sugar goes first, then tea bag, then hot water. Then after the water, you put in, you give it a stir. Then you put the milk in. You don't dump it all in though. You put like a nice amount in, not so it's like a cup of piss. Then you stir again, and then you take your tea bag out, and it's brilliant. I'm telling you. If for any of you listening that aren't from countries that have tea regularly, give it a go, and don't get Liptons or anything like that. Like, if you have to import Yorkshire tea, then it's the best thing to do. I mean, hopefully they sell Yorkshire tea and PG Tips where you're from, but just not Lipton. It's fucking horrible. It's a proper milky cup of piss you end up with. It's not worth it. This is the problem when I go to other countries as well. Like, when I've been to Spain before, when I went to Turkey like a few years back, and bearing in mind Turkey's not an expensive place to go anyway, for me, like where I'm from, it doesn't cost a lot to go to Turkey, so I really went on the cheap as well. And it was like this, I think it was half board I went, so like you get breakfast and dinner, but you don't get, it's not like all inclusive, but it was, I think the whole holiday for a week half board cost like £300, £320 or something. So in dollars, maximum that probably like $400. I don't know. It wasn't a lot for a week, and they gave us this tea, and it was absolutely vile. I had to put 3 tea bags in just to get some flavour out of it. It was called Dogus. Oh, it was horrible. I'll never forget the big old Dogus teas. They were rancid, fucking putrid. I don't know how the Turkish people are drinking that shit, but yeah. That was vile, really vile. They always have Lipton in Spain as well, Greece. Fucking Lipton shit. I don't care what anyone says, it's not nice. But yeah, this isn't interesting, is it? What else can I talk about? I was listening. I was reading some of your worst injuries and made me sound like a bit of a pussy, to be honest. Like, some of the injuries that you guys have had were so grim, and I'm sitting here moaning about, like, when I did my ankle and that, and my finger. And you're talking about some absolutely like horrific injuries. Maybe sound like a right little wimp, but yeah, that was interesting. And like, if you have got any more injuries you can write down, let me know, because I like reading stuff like that. The thing is, I don't always reply to the message because there's so many that come through. I can't reply to everyone, but I do read the vast majority of them, and I actually really enjoy reading your comments. And I try and, like, what's that little heart thing that I can do to them? I try to do that to a lot of them. If I read it, I read a lot of them. I do read a lot of them, but I'm also at the same time, I'm trying to take a step back from social media and stuff, because I don't think it's a very good thing. I don't know. I know this is hypocritical because I'm uploading this onto fucking YouTube, but I'm kind of trying to not isolate myself. What's the way to put it? I'm trying to sort of be selective with what I view, if that makes sense. So, like, I don't want to be on Instagram all the time. I don't want to be on YouTube all the time. I don't want to. The things I don't want to read. I've realised as well. Like, I don't want to read horrible comments. I don't get that many, but you do get some, and you think, just piss off. I don't need to read that. So I'm trying to keep myself happy and not read nasty comments, because I'm not a nasty person. I know I'm a nice person, so I don't need to be reading things about people complaining about my channel all the time and how I read, because sometimes people act as if I'm an actual voice actor, and I'm not. I literally just do this for fun. I've never done voice acting. I've never done anything like that. It's just I brought a microphone and decided to read stories and teach myself how to read them. Sort of like, not, I didn't even teach myself. I just started reading. I don't think I'm the best at it. I'm probably one of the worst. It doesn't bother me. I just do it for fun. I don't really care, like, about being the best at it. I don't care about doing voice acting lessons. I don't care if I have vocal fry. I don't care if I drag out my words. I don't care if it's not perfect. I just do it for fun, and enough of you seem to like it, so it doesn't bother me. I really I'm not trying to be perfect at it. Obviously I want to improve. I'm always trying to improve, but I'm not going to be spending thousands to do voice acting lessons. I don't have thousands to spend on voice acting lessons, so I'll just do this. And this is what makes me happy, so I don't know why I'm whinging about that. I don't know why I'm ranting about it. Just sometimes people's comments irritate me a little bit, but most of the time I don't let the comments annoy me. But you get certain ones where you think, well, just don't watch it then. Like, when people proper moaning about my voice and stuff, and I think, well, don't watch it. I'm not making you sit there and listen to 40 minutes of me, am I? You can just click off the video. You're not paying for it. No one's forced you to watch it. Just don't watch it. It's not like I'm doing anything offensive, or if it's not like I'm being horrible to people and slagging people off. I'm reading horror stories for fun. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's not like you've bought an audiobook for 50 quid or something, is it? Like, I'm literally just, I don't know, it just winds me up sometimes. But I don't know why it sometimes annoys me, but not that often. I get enough nice comments for it not to bother me, to be honest with you. Like 95% of the comments are really, really nice on my videos, and that makes me really happy, because it's nice to know that people like it. In other news, I I got a really cheap, actually not even cheap, someone gave it to me, an exercise bike. Well, someone didn't give it to me, they gave it to my dad, and my dad gave it to me. It's an exercise bike, and I've been using it, and it's more difficult than it looks. But I had to put it together, basically. And I am not exactly the handyman that you all might imagine. I am utterly incompetent when it comes to putting things together. So it took me forever, and I started going on it, and the fucking both pedals flew off, didn't they? So that was a great start. But if anyone wants any building work done, hit me up. But yeah, I've been trying to get fitter, and I'm gonna start doing like I need to think of a sport that I love football, so I'll probably be playing football soon. But I'd love to learn like a new sport. I don't know what it would be though. Like I'm not desperate to do a sport. Do you know what I mean? Like a new one. But it'd be nice to learn something different, because I've been watching the Olympics recently, and Team GB have been doing quite well actually. So it's motivated me to learn something. Do you know what I like? I don't know if you've been watching it, but I do like the Olympics. I've been watching that speed rock climbing. Fuck me. They are literally like little spiders whizzing up a wall, aren't they? Like I don't know how they do it that quick. I would be terrified if I'd get halfway up and I'd just be latched onto it like a stag beetle. I wouldn't want to move. I'd be terrified. I don't like heights. I'm not at all. Things. I said to my mum, like, Mum's like, why don't you try diving? And I said, like, I would, but I'm scared of heights, so I can't do it. I don't like heights. I'm not a fan of hanging off the end of something. But they do look good though, don't they? The diving. Don't know how they. And the thing is, like, when you sit there watching it, and then they're doing these like ridiculously high difficulty maneuvers and stuff, like under pressure as well. And then there's a little bit of splash after a while, and you're like, that wasn't good. Nah, that was fucking shit. That, and it wasn't though, was it? There's no way I could do it. Like most I could do is like a little flip and a belly flop in the water. Like, and these people are doing like triple somersaults in the air and synchronising the landing, and their bloody toe ain't in place. And they're like, nah, shit that. But yeah, so I'm doing diving. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna watch it again today, probably. No, actually, no, I can't watch it today. I'm going to a football match, aren't I? Oh yeah. I'll probably. Actually, I didn't see yesterday, so I might try and watch that this morning. I'm guessing that can't be many people listening to this now. I just like talking, to be honest with you. I just enjoy this little bit of waffle at the end of the episodes. I'm still surprised that some of you do like this, because I don't know, I find it relaxing. I'm just like sitting on my bed. Like, it's so much nicer than recording a story too, because I'm not even focused on anything. I'm just looking around my room. I've got an England flag in my room. I'm looking at that. I want to get a Britain one too. I've got the England flag for the Euros because I thought we was going to win it and we didn't. The Team GB flag, I'll get that because we're doing alright at the minute. I like different flags though. Oh, this is going to be fucking boring. I'm not talking about flags. I was going to say, well, I want to get like an America one, but no, I can't be waffling on about flags. Fuck me. There's definitely more interesting things for you all to be doing right now than listening to this, but yeah. Do you know what I can see from the outside of my room? The cheapest bottle of passion fruit martini you'll ever see. And I don't like alcohol, right? But I actually don't mind it. Like, porn star martinis, they're actually okay. I thought they would be a lot worse than what they are, and I do actually like it. Like, whereas like anyone gets me to try like vodka, it's horrible, vile. Like Sambuca, rancid. But that, when someone gave me that, and I thought, that's not that bad, you know. So I got a little bottle of it. It was only like £6 or something for a bottle, so I thought I'd give it a go. But yeah, alright, I'm gonna have to end this soon because this is very boring now, isn't it? But yeah, let me know what you guys have been up to, because I'm always interested in that. Also, can you put in the comments where you're from, like not town actually, like city, if you're not in a city, because I'm not in a city either. Like, put down, I'll just put down just say where you're from. I don't know why I'm complicating things, I'm tired. Just like, can you let me know where yous are all from? I'm not saying about your bloody, not saying your address and your bloody postcode and zip code. I mean like city and county or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like state. That's what I mean, state. Like, let me know where you guys are from, because it interests me as to where everyone's listening from. Because you get some right strange places I've never even heard of sometimes, and they say they're listening. So I quite enjoy it. But yeah, let me know. And thank you to everyone for listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thing is, I feel like I've got something else to talk about, but I definitely don't. Alright, no, I'm going to end it. Alright, thanks a lot to all of you. I appreciate you all. Love you all. See you later. Bye. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about too. I'm going to add this onto the end of the intro because, outro, because I recorded that outro about a week ago now. But yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about was that I'm going to put a link in the description to Headway Charity. So if you guys want to take a look at it, then please do. They actually do some really good work all to do with head and brain injuries and rehabilitation. So please take a look. And what else can I talk about? Now I'll turn my microphone on. I've got an issue with old Sluggate going on my house at the moment. So basically, there's these slugs that constantly end up next to, it's like they teleport, it's like slug spawners next to my cat's food, and sometimes they get in it, so it's really annoying. And I don't know, I honestly have tried to figure out where these slugs are coming from for about 6 months, and I've been outsmarted by them every single time, because they just, every single time, I can't find, I'll sometimes, I'll walk in the kitchen, right, where my cat's food is, look down, there's a slug there, go put the slug out in the garden, or outside the front door, wherever, I come back, there's another slug there, but then, I'll think, you know what, I'm going to stay here for like 5 minutes, just figure out where these slugs are coming from. Not a single slug will appear. I tell you what, they are smart, and they're outwitting me at the moment. And so like I'll walk away, come back again, it's another slug. Like where are they coming from, and how do they know when I'm there and when they can and can't go? Because it's like a fine-tuned operation they've got going, and I just cannot figure it out. There's no area that I can think of where they can come from. I don't understand, because my kitchen's quite far from, like, it's a long way for a little slug to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, considering the size of of slugs, I don't see how they can go that distance without me knowing where they are or seeing their trails. I'm just getting, I'll tell you what, they're clever things, and it's frustrating me. If anyone has any idea how you can stop a slug from getting in your house, or what you can do, because I don't want to kill them, I don't want to kill anything, I just want them gone. So if anyone knows, please tell me, because I really, really want to know how I can get rid of these slugs in a humane way. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say anyway. Alright, see you guys later.